The guy's here to fix the leak on your solid gold faucet.
Send him in.
No answer for why Biden and Harris threw out Donald Trump's executive orders and changed everything, and then a flood of people came in. An ounce of humility here would go a long way, and she doesn't have it in her to do it, and she has no real answer other than to blame Congress. And Brett was right. Democrats controlled everything when they took over, and so is she saying it's the Democrats' fault that the immigration system is broken? I don't understand this. I don't understand why she can't just say, hindsight here, we shouldn't have done it. I think the American people would actually accept it, but she won't do it. No answer for why Biden and Harris threw out Donald Trump's executive orders and
Do you guys think this is normal for them to bring politics into school? And if they vote for, I live in California, by the way, but if you vote for Kamala Harris, then you're going to get a pizza party. But if you vote for Donald J. Trump, apparently you are excluded.
They said that my teacher was screaming at us saying the other class was voting Trump. So they don't get to use the pimple patches, not the school supplies for the girls. They don't get to use the computers, the chargers, or the, what's it called? The scrunchies, the deodorant, or stuff like that.
Okay, so you guys don't get to use this stuff. It's okay. And then what was said about the pizza party?
That we don't get the pizza party because only the kids that only our class that voted Kamala get to eat the pizza party, but some of the kids didn't vote for Kamala, they voted for Trump.
This is the scariest sound you will hear when you live in a communist country. This is the last sound my parents heard when their fathers were taken away in the middle of the night, and they never saw their loved ones again. That's the sound of losing your freedom, the sound of always living in fear. That's my family's real life story. We escaped from Vietnam just days before Saigon fell to the communists. We were given a new life in the most generous country on earth. America saved my life. I graduated from the United States Naval Academy. I earned a master's in physics and fellowships at MIT and Harvard before the left replaced merit with racial quotas. I spent my life trying to repay my debt to America, my country, our country, with 25 years of service in Navy Special Operations, combat in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Somalia. But now our country has taken a dark turn. That's Joe Biden's Justice Department sending 24 armed agents to arrest a pro-life activist in front of his family. That's Joe Biden's IRS raiding a gun shop and seizing thousands of records from law-abiding gun owners. Our names, our addresses, our social security numbers. That's Joe Biden arresting his challenger in the next election, a former president of the United States. And now a different sound. That's the sound of someone breaking into your home or business. The sound of crime destroying our cities and communities. That's how it all starts. They let criminals back on our streets. Millions of illegal immigrants pour across our border each year, including military-aged men from all over the world. And enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in this country. And the Biden family? Well, that's how it works in a dictatorship. The rules don't apply to the rulers. We are losing our country. You know it, but you also know you can't say it. We're forced to say that wrong is right. We're forced to lie. We can't let that happen. I've been all over the world. Believe me when I tell you, if America fails, there's nowhere else to go. I'm Hung Kao, retired Navy captain running for United States Senate. I still believe America can be the land of opportunity. I have an obligation to fight back against those who want to control our lives and disrupt our families. We need real fighters, not politicians, not bureaucrats, not keyboard warriors acting tough in a custom-made suit. No, not here in America. We must refuse to be intimidated. We must be fearless. I'm Hung Kao. I'm running for Senate, and I approve this message because I'm not done fighting for us.
Hello everyone, James O'Keefe here. Breaking news, the Border Patrol agent whistleblower who appears in the film Line in the Sand is under attack by the Customs and Border Protection agencies for allegations of
Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, you know, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop. So, Martha, final, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things, and she maybe should do more of these. Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, you know, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop. So, Martha, final, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things, and she maybe should do more of these. Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, you know, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop. So, Martha, final, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things, and she maybe should do more of these. Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, you know, I'm talking.
Are you fucking kidding me? I usually don't jump in on any of this political bullshit, but what in the actual fuck, FEMA? Are you kidding me right now? We're gonna completely stop all of our search and rescue and all of our help with these people because they're mad and forming militias and stuff like that and coming and yelling at us because we're giving people maybe $700 because their homes got fucked off, and we're maybe giving them a night in a hotel. But we're spending billions of dollars on foreign fucking wars and billions of dollars on people just coming into the fucking country illegally. But all of you guys, you can go fuck yourselves because you're getting angry now because we're fucking you over. The government is fucking you over. FEMA is fucking you over. You're not allowed to get angry about that. And you know how I know that? Because the sheriff of Asheville himself came out and said, hey guys, let's just help each other out in these recovery processes and don't stir the pot. What the fuck is don't stir the pot, you little bitch? What the fuck is that? You're getting bent over backwards and you're saying don't stir the pot? Fuck you. And your little fucking bought and paid for force. Fuck all that. Rebel on all of them. Fuck FEMA.
It's become clear that people in this country and globally have been steamrolled. It is also clear that it has been coordinated globally. It is also clear that it has been integrated, not just over 6 months, not just over 2.5 years, but it has been planned over decades. The changes to legislation in this country were done so that they could control doctors and people. But the people are waking, and it's thanks to people like Dr. Altman and all the presenters here today, thanks to people like Senator Babette and Craig Kelly. We know and we knew that this is all bullshit. and that we've been had. But we are going to hound you down, the people that are guilty. We are going to hound you down and hold you accountable, and we will expose your global agenda so that the people of Australia can be free in the future. Because I love my kids, and I'm looking forward to my grandkids. And we are going to save this country.
Here are two different. All right, so what we're looking at here are two different batches of votes. Scanner 5162, batch 234, image 59, and scanner 5162, batch 235, image 19. And what you can see is that, like on this vote right here, we've got this exact same little tail that shows on both of them. And if you think that maybe that's, if you think that maybe that's just a, a mistake or just a coincidence, here's the next one that shows, you can see Republican is written there, Republicans written there. This is ballot 61. This is ballot number 2. And then each one of them even has this little dot in the Fannie Willis.
Okay, and do you have more of those?
We have the entire batch. There's 62 images in here total, and I didn't even get a chance to go through all of them. But these are the most obvious ones where it's clear that it's the same. This one's got the little tail on the side.
And so what happened? So do you know the numbers of these total batches? Like,
I don't remember what the totals were when the batches. I don't think they weren't disparate. They were fairly close. But the simple fact that they
so
occurred.
if you see that little bubble right there, this is one image. Here's another image.
Exactly
see,
the same.
exact same. And the batch number, what is it, 5162?
Also, scanner 5162.
Okay, scanner.
Batch number 235, image number 92, matches the same scanner 5162, batch 234, image 33.
So there you have it. Duplicate ballots. The entire batch is scanned several times.
It's become clear that people in this country and globally have been steamrolled. It is also clear that it is.
No, because the future of the republic is up for grabs in a little more than 3 weeks. This is it. I talked to a group of libertarians recently who said, maybe we're going to keep our powder dry. We put aside a little money. Maybe we'll start a new party when this is over. Folks, if we do not win this election, I really honestly don't believe we're ever going to have another election. This is it. This is the moment we were born for. This is the epicenter of the fight for freedom. And I'm feeling, how I am. I'm very conservative. I'm generally pessimistic, but I'm beginning to feel better and better about the prospects for victory. I'm not saying that we're going to win big. I wouldn't use that headline, but I'm feeling better and better about it. At this point, Alex, I think it's a draw. I mean, look, I'm not an attorney, as you know. It's kind of hard to understand how the government, the federal government, even with a straight face, makes the argument that these people who are constitutionally ineligible to vote should remain on the rolls, and that we who advocate that they be removed are somehow disenfranchising people. We're not disenfranchising anyone who's legally eligible to vote. This came up last week. I said, speaking to the Jacksonville Young Republicans, that I believe there were as many as 1 million not real, ineligible voters on the rolls in the swing states. This would include voters who are dead, voters who moved out of state, voters who never existed to begin with, who are registered to vote at a vacant lot or a non-residential building where the mail to them comes back as undeliverable. Now, in some states, Florida, for example, the registrars in the various counties remove those people. But in other states, as you know, the state governments or counties have resisted removing them. How this all plays out, it's a little too early to say. But if they're arguing at this point that illegals must be allowed to vote, it tells you they know that they're losing. That's why they picked up this charge that Donald Trump is a racist.
Okay, so I just finished a conversation with this gentleman here. You may recognize the one and only 45, soon to be 47.
And I think you'll like it.
Goes out Thursday, 9 a.m. See you there. Okay, so I just finished.
Kamala Harris just completed her interview with Bret Baier on Fox News, and it was, as advertised, a complete bleep show. By the way, if you like these reacts, if you want to see these things continue to happen in real time, we do need your help. You need to go subscribe, dailywire.com/subscribe. When you use code REACT, you get 35% off. We're going to keep bringing you these updates, not only in the election season, but well past that. So dailywire.com/subscribe, 35% off with code REACT. Okay, so on to the news. Kamala Harris, wow. I thought it was not going to be great. I did not think it was going to be that not great. So listen, Kamala Harris has been avoiding difficult interviews this entire election cycle. The most difficult interview she did was with Bill Whitaker, and 60 Minutes chopped it up to make her look better. That did not happen with Bret Baier, and it was a full-scale disaster area for her. So he opened right off the bat by asking her about illegal immigration. He said, how many illegal immigrants have been let into the country under you? And she immediately swivels. She will not answer the question. She won't just say, listen, we blew it at the beginning. We reversed Donald Trump's executive orders. We got it right now. We understand the problem. That's Joe. That's not me. Right? That's the actual real answer. But she can't do that because she also wants to say that she owns it, that she was involved in every decision. Later on in this interview, by the way, she would be talking about Donald Trump, and she would suggest you have to own everything your administration did. Well, lady, that's going to be a campaign ad because it turns out people do not like what you have done. In fact, Bret Baier asked her, you keep saying you're going to turn the page. So Bret Baier's like, from what? You're the current vice president of the United States. You realize Americans, 79% of them, don't like the direction of the country. You're the current incumbent. And she said, well, yes, but Donald Trump has been running. He said, well, yeah, but you're the current vice president of the United States of America. What the hell does Donald Trump running have to do with anything? No answer from her. He asked about Laken Riley and other people slain by illegal immigrants, and she tried to blame that on the failure to pass a border bill in 2023. Okay, but the problem is that the illegal immigrants who were let in well before that border bill was even proposed to Congress. So it makes no sense whatsoever. He asked her about whether she would still be in favor of transgender surgeries for illegal immigrants and federal inmates. And she said, I will abide by the law. That's not an answer. That's you saying yes. That's you saying that you still would use taxpayer dollars to pay for all of those things. He asked her about the fact that she has been covering for Joe Biden's senility for 3.5 years. And instead of answering, she says, no, I've been in the room with him. I've been there the whole time. He's great. And by the way, he's not on the ticket. And Baier follows up. He's like, yes, but we can all see he's diminished. That's the reason you're here. And she refuses once again to answer the question. Man, she looked bad. She looked absolutely awful. She looked contentious. She looked angry at Bret Baier for having the temerity to ask her any sort of serious question. She's got to be super ticked at her team for suggesting that she do Bret Baier in the first place. And she's unwilling or unable to answer any question about policy at all in this election cycle. The only thing she's got, and everybody knows it, is Trumpy Trump, McTrump. But here is the problem. The minute you dig below the surface, what you realize is that she is an empty vessel for the entire Biden administration agenda. And she's not particularly smart. She doesn't know her own policies well enough to make cogent and interesting distinctions about how her policies work. She doesn't understand how to defend the policies that she has herself put into place. She tried to suggest that she'd be tougher on Iran than Donald Trump. I mean, like, these things make no sense whatsoever. And the biggest thing that rolled off of her was enormous disdain for having to be there. That was the thing that rolled off of her in waves. So much of these interviews, it's true for debate also, so much of it is sort of the attitude you bring to it. And the reason that J.D. Vance did really well in the vice presidential debate is because he didn't come in hot and aggressive and angry. He came in and he was sort of open body language and accepting the terms of the debate. And yeah, he pushed back here and there, but he was really kind of kind and generous during the debate. That was the mistake that Donald Trump made in 2020 against Joe Biden. It was all a problem of affect. He came in super hot, really aggressive. Okay, so Kamala Harris sits down with Bret Baier, and instead of being friendly and saying, listen, Bret, we have some statistics that suggest that, say, 6 million illegal immigrants have entered the country. It is our job to do a better job of that on the border. That was a mistake that Joe Biden made when he came into office. We were optimistic about what could happen with the border. We thought a bill would get passed quickly. Obviously, that wasn't true, and we were delayed. We were belated in actually doing the things that we should have done by closing the border back up. We're doing it now. I promise to do that going forward. That's the best answer, obviously, but she can't give that answer, and she refuses to give that answer, and she gets angry when she's asked. That's the thing. She's really angry about having to run a race. That's the part that's amazing. She is ticked at having to run this thing. Why? Well, because literally every job that she's ever had, with the exception of the DA job, which she won a race against Steve Cooley in California, has been handed to her on a silver platter. Kamala Harris has always been the sort of fair-haired child when it comes to people just handing her things. Hell, she was handed the vice presidency after running the worst presidential campaign in modern American history. I mean, the list of gaffes in this interview is almost endless. Again, she suggests that Joe Biden is totally fine. At one point, Brett Baer has to openly say, your handlers want me to stop this interview. Like, they really want you to stop this interview. You know, she again, is unable to simply, to explain even why she's not responsible for what Joe Biden is doing. And so you have to wonder, where does she go from here? Seriously, where does she go? If this is the best she can do against Brett Baer, and you see, the Democrats are going to try and spin this as though she was cogent and interesting. She faced down a brutal grilling, a really hard interviewer, and now she's brave. Okay, well, points for bravery, I suppose. Bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it does for you. If the idea is doing this, and then doing Joe Rogan for 3 hours, when she is asked a point-blank question, she cannot answer the question. She simply cannot. She cannot defend her own policies. The only line of attack she has is just saying Trump and Trump and Trump again. That's really the only line of attack any Kamala Harris defenders have at this point. I really don't think that's going to be enough, because it turns out that in order to vote against Donald Trump or to show up to vote in favor of Kamala Harris, she's going to have to show something beyond a radical, sneering disdain for anyone who has questions about why the hell she's here and what she will do as president of the United States.
Today in Georgia, a judge ruled that election officials have to certify results, even if voter fraud is suspected. And around the state, Democrats are suing to prevent drop box surveillance, hand counting ballots, and voter ID protections. Why are Democrats trying to make elections less secure? Especially while many states across the country are finding thousands of people who aren't citizens on the voter rolls, like in Virginia, where Governor Youngkin removed more than 6,000 non-citizens from the rolls. The Biden-Harris administration didn't like that. The Justice Department is now suing Virginia for cleaning up the voter rolls, something Virginia governors have been doing for years.
Why is it that anyone could argue that a process that removes non-citizens off of our voter rolls is anything else other than common sense and constitutional? This is a law that's been on our books since 2006. It was a law that was signed by then Democrat Governor Tim Kaine. This is why I find this to be a very, very unreal moment that is